Straight talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Ooh, simply straight talk.
Look at this, Melissa. The kids are having so much fun. Look, I know I picked at you about buying food for her kids' party, but it really was a great gesture.
Thank you, and I knew you were joking. On another note, isn't that your third piece of cake? You may want to slow down. Your sugar level is going to be skyrocket out of control.
Girl, please. My body has an automated adjustment system. I would just drink 32 ounces of water to cleanse my blood and liver. Shoot, then I'm all good.
So you think drinking water is going to fix it, despite what your doctor says? Boy, you stupid.
See, you a hater. Don't hate intelligence. And besides...
Shh. Do you hear that?
What? Oh, sound like somebody arguing.
Come on, let's walk to the other side and see what's going on. Put that cake down.
All right. You such a party pooper.
Listen, they're getting really loud at a children's party. This is crazy. That voice sounds familiar. Okay, now I'm curious about who this is.
It sounds like somebody really going at it.
Oh, hell no. Why is James dumbass here? I cannot stand his dirty ass. He has no respect for women.
Damn, this dude is forever bringing drama everywhere he goes.
Go over there, please, and get your ignorant friends so these kids don't have to hear this foolishness.
Listen, I don't want to get involved. Let's just enjoy this cake and ice cream.
Oh, you don't want me to get involved. I tell you what, either you go over there or I'm gonna grab one of these baseball bats, then he's going to the hospital, and me and you going to jail.
How am I going to jail if you the one hit him?
Because we're friends. If one goes to jail, we both go to jail. And I'm gonna tell the cops that you helped me. Now get your diabetic butt over here and do something. Love you, friend.
I don't know what kind of love you got for your friend. Jeez. James!
Reggie, what's up? Hold on, I got a little situation I'm handling right now.
Look, bro. Come on, let me holler at you for a second. Man, you see all these kids in here. Don't argue like this. Let's go to the next room. You can chill, calm down, and chat with me and Melissa.
You sit here until I come back.
What's going on anyway?
Hey, Reggie, I'm tired of people not respecting me. Whenever I leave the house, she always coming at me with 1,000 questions. She need to be grateful that I'm even with her. Look at her. She need to lose some weight. What's up, Melissa? Did you hear that woman acting a fool? These women today, I'll tell you.
If you were loyal and not so controlling, you wouldn't have these problems. Reggie, why did you bring him over here?
You told me to go over there and help calm things down.
Now, Melissa, why you acting like that stuck-up friend of yours, Angelique?
James, bruh, you can't verbally abuse people like that, man. You starting to get a bad reputation.
Hold up, Reggie. I got this. Who you talking to with your bad breath having ass? You standing up here faking like you a real man, yelling at a woman over ignorant mess at a children's birthday party? For real, are you seriously that insecure right now? But let me tell you, psycho broke butt was real. You done rolled up on the right one today.
Melissa, relax.
Shut up, Reggie.
Girl, chill. You don't need to disrespect him like that. Bro, Reggie, I got your back.
No, dog, I'm good. Don't do that. Don't ever do that.
Ma'am, I don't know your name, but if you want to leave or walk around, help yourself, and I dare you to say something to her. You best believe that I am not some weak chick that's going to allow anybody, man or woman, to disrespect me or verbally and physically abuse me, ever. Now, if you feel bold and you can handle leaping into the sun, make that jump so I can light your ass up.
You need to calm down now.
Bro, real talk, you need to just walk away, man. Just go home, anywhere, but just leave here. Let the situation die.
I'm leaving. I don't need this drama. I'll holler at you, bro.
Just go, and if you got something to say about Angelique, say it to her face, you stupid psycho.
Whatever.
I got your whatever.
Whatever.
Okay. He's gone. Let's just calm down.
I didn't mean to yell at you, but I can't stand to see people suffer in abusive relationships.
It's all good. I know you weren't mad at me.
I did notice when he took a step forward, you stepped right in front of me.
Look, he can run his mouth. Any dude can run his mouth at you, but I tell you what, nobody's going to put their hands on you. Real talk, you know I always got your back.
You don't have to tell me that.
Well, I think we need to just grab some cake and ice cream and just let this party get started back for the kids, because the kids really want some cake and ice cream.
Oh, so you want to leap into the sun now after I told you to stop eating so much cake? You better grab a Pepsi Zero and some celery with dip.
Fine. Look, listen, Lord knows I'm not trying to leap into the sun with you at all.
Let me call Angelique and tell her about this fool and his drama. Welcome to the Simply Straight Talk Show, a podcast about real life with real talk. Each week, we deliver the best hard-hitting conversations on topics that affect you and me every day on this journey called life. Now, here's your host, Reggie Maddox.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show. This is your host, Reggie Maddox, and I know y'all like that real talk, all about that straight talk. So that's what we're going to do, man. We're going to have a straight talk conversation today. Today, we want to talk about, recovery from abusive relationships. You see it on social media. You see it on the TV. You hear women, expressing their thoughts about, and their experiences regarding being in abusive relationships. You have men now coming out and talking about how they have been in abusive relationships. And I think this is something that we really need to explore. And I want to look at this on a much broader scale than just, being as two people in an intimate relationship. Because to me, an abusive relationship can be with a coworker, friends. I mean, it doesn't have to be intimate. It is normally when a person, exhibits a certain behavior towards someone. So let's get into this before I start rambling. But anyway, abusive relationships are also called like domestic abuse, domestic violence, or just relationship abuse. But it's basically a pattern of behaviors used by one person, or a partner, kind of like to maintain control and power over the other person in the relationship. Now, like I said, I don't think abusive relationships are always based on being in an intimate relationships, but most commonly, that is where we hear about abusive relationships in regards to being in intimate relationships with your spouse, your mate, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend. Now, I want you to understand that anyone can be the victim of an abusive relationship, regardless of their race, their age, their sexual orientation, their religion, or gender. It can happen to anybody. People who are married, people who are living together, people who are dating, people who are working together. And it doesn't have to be, an intimate relationship. It can be in the work environment. So that's why I say I want to look at this on a broader scale, because I want everybody to think about, how do you treat that person next to you? Not only how do you treat your mate, your husband, your wife, your partner. I want you to think about your children. I want you to think about that person on the job, those coworkers, that cashier. Abusive relationships, abusive behavior can occur in many forms, and it can occur to different people. And you need to be mindful of when you are starting to exhibit this behavior towards other people. Now, abusive relationships includes, stuff that's physically harmful. It creates fear. It prevents a person from doing things that they want to do, or it forces them to behave in ways that, they really don't want to. It includes the use of physical and sexual violence. It can include threats and intimidation, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and even economic deprivation. Many of these different forms of abuse can be occurring at any one time within a relationship. And that's why I say, we really need to kind of think about how we treat people, and it's difficult to be in an abusive relationship. Okay. Now, when I say abusive relationship, I want you to think about the situation that you're in, whether it's with your husband, whether with your wife, whether it's on your job. Think about children who are experiencing abusive relationship, physical, verbal. Sometimes some of the things that people say to kids, it starts them off with a negative mindset. They're creating a legacy of what's going to be abusive behavior until someone steps in to stop it. So we want to talk about that today, and we want to get a really good understanding, that it's not okay to be in an abusive relationship, and it's not okay to abuse anybody. And we need to recognize these things. Now, we have to look at why it happens. Why do abusive relationships take place? Why is it? Especially when a person is physically or verbally hurting someone that they say they love. Because it makes you wonder, it's like, especially if you're on the outside looking in and you see what's going on and you're like, you sitting here telling us that you love this woman. You sitting here telling us that you love this man, that you love your children, you love your family, that this is a good friend. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just a coworker. Why must you be so abusive in that relationship with them? Why must you exhibit or want to see them exhibit fear when you come around? Why is it that you want to see them hurt, crying? Why do you want to see them degraded? Why do you want to see them in a state of which around your presence is like you're dominating over them? And we need to kind of dig into this because we can't understand how to recover from abusive behavior unless we start to understand the truth of abusive behavior. Because often abusive tactics, it stems from a desire to gain and maintain control and power. We know that already. Be it over an intimate partner, a coworker, a friend, kids, we understand that. But there's this truth in what we don't want to really acknowledge is the fact that there is a deep-rooted issue within that person who uses abusive behavior in relationships. And we have to kind of come to terms with that. We have to kind of understand that, because if we push that aside, we're not going to be able to not only heal in your process for the recovery, but you're not going to be able to understand why that person is doing what they're doing and how you can avoid getting caught back in that situation again. Abusive people believe that they have the right to control and restrict their partners. Now, that's number one. And they may enjoy the feeling of exerting power. Some people get an adrenaline rush when they feel like people are bowing down to them. People are, coming in a room and you have to acknowledge this person. You see it in meetings, sometimes on the job, you got this one person who feel like everybody has to like them. Everybody has to bow down to them, or they start displaying abusive power, abusive behavior. You got people in relationships who are the same way. They feel like they have to control everything. The finances, they want to control it. They feel like if I can control the finances, I can control you. If I control where you work, then you guess what? You're never going to make enough money to go and do anything on your own because you're going to need me. I control the dynamics of your life. Even in friendships, some people like to keep their friends underneath them. Abusive power and manipulation is everywhere. So abusive people believe that they have the right to control and restrict their partners or their friends or their coworkers. That's their mindset. Number two, they don't feel in control of their life. And I believe this is what a lot of people struggle with. When a person feels that they don't have control in their life, they feel defeated by the outside world. So they develop a mindset of, if I can't control the outside world, then I'm going to rule this house. Somebody is going to listen to me and respect me. And this is something that I think a lot of Black men sort of had a mindset of, especially during the times of segregation and slavery. And we're talking about coming all the way up to the 60s and 70s. A lot of Black men had to deal with this. And when they had to deal with it, they brought it home. So the wives had to deal with it from the Black men. And then, it sort of got passed down through the kids, because you had this Black man who was trying to go out and buy all these things. He wanted his wife to have everything that the white man was giving to his wife. He couldn't do it. He was told he wasn't a man. He was made to feel like he wasn't a man. And then when he came home, the Black woman just couldn't compete with all of the negativity and bitterness and knives and thorns that he was getting in the world. And sometimes a person just becomes angry and they bring that back to the household. And you have people now who really are exhibiting that same behavior. They just simply feel like, I have no control of the outside world, I have no control on my job, so I'm going to control this household. I'm going to control my friendships. I'm going to control my coworkers. I'm going to control this house. And you may have a woman who feels the same way. She comes in and she wants to run the house. She wants to rule the house with an iron fist because she feels she can't do anything outside. So she brings it home to where she feels like this is where I will put my foot down. Number 3, they often believe that their own feelings and needs should be the priority in their relationships. So they use abusive tactics to dismantle equality and make their partners feel less valuable and deserving of respect in the relationship. Now, this can result from growing up and not feeling loved or a part of a family. You could be that child that no parent listened to. You could be that husband that, your wife doesn't listen to you, or a wife where your husband doesn't listen to you. You know what I'm saying? On the job, you could be a supervisor or a manager and nobody listens to you. When you come up in a world to where you feel like nobody is listening to you, and then when you get into maybe a particular relationship, you're going to start demanding that you be heard. You're going to start demanding that people acknowledge your feelings. And that's why you might find some people that when they express their feelings, they want immediate gratification from you to acknowledge their feelings. You have to acknowledge their feelings the way they want it acknowledged, regardless of what you're doing. You could have just had a very close family member die. It doesn't matter. If they stump their toe, you take care of that toe. You deal with your grieving later. And you have to realize that some people, they have that emotional burden on them. Internally, they're dealing with the fact that they don't feel that no one listens to them. Their feelings are not validated. Number 4, sometimes people see it in their own families or in their communities, or sometimes it's taught. Sometimes if you grow up in a home to where you see the mother, a woman abusing the father or abusing the boyfriend, or you got a husband abusing a wife or the girlfriend, or children being abused. You may have a mother that favors the daughter and she's really negative and abusive towards the son. You may have a father that favors the son, but really abusive and negative towards a father that favors the daughter, but abusive and negative towards the son. And when you have that, a person can grow up with that mentality of, well, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to talk to people. This is how you're supposed to deal in relationships. And sometimes you will have, especially with young people, if they go out on the streets, they hang out with people down the street. If a person if they begin to sort of idolize that person or sort of make that person their mentor because they feel like that person is cool, that person seems to have a good life, that person seems to be living well, and that person feels like, a man feels like he can be negative towards women. He talks down to women and threatens women. And they go like, oh, well, the women seem to love him for talking to them like that. That's how you do it. And same thing for a girl. A female can feel like, wow, okay, she just disrespects those guys. She talks about those guys, or she does this, and she may feel like, so that's how you make men honor you. You treat them like crap. And some people grow up with that mentality. They see it, they embrace it, and then that's how they get into relationships because they don't know. Nobody taught them that it was wrong because they just happened to choose a mentor that taught them that abusive behavior was productive. Next, drug and alcohol. Now, we've all heard this before, but drug and alcohol usage, it really can escalate abuse. And it's really important to recognize that these issues, a person can be dealing with so much. And I really do believe this. Let me put it like this. I'm trying to make this so you understand my thoughts here. That a person who does drugs and alcohol, some people will do drugs and alcohol and they will be, which I don't think you should, but anyway, they will be relaxed, laid back. Other people, when they do drugs or they start drinking, everything that they're feeling inside comes out. It could be a very cool, and I've seen guys that have been very relaxed and funny, but when they start drinking, they become angry. They become bitter. And I've also seen women do the same thing, which kind of shocked me the first time I saw it. because I knew this one young lady, she was really sweet and just so kind. I mean, really, she would have you laughing till you fell out of a chair. But the second she started drinking, it was like a whole nother person took over. And I truly believe that because they are dealing with issues inside that they have not expressed. We were seeing an image, but the alcohol just sort of unlocked some doors inside of them that revealed some anger, some bitterness, and it just really flowed out. And with her, she became really violent when she was drunk. So alcohol and drugs can escalate abuse, and some people become more abusive. And that's a person that needs help. But you know what? We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of today's topic, recovery from abusive relationships.
We'll be back with your host, Reggie, on Simply Straight Talk.
Hey, this your man Reggie here. Are you looking for some fresh new music? Are you looking for an artist that's got that positive vibe and that positive flow, that knows how to flow lyrically? Then man, you need to check out Tone G Music with songs like Buzzin', Good Deeds, and Pick Up the Phone. Now these songs are available on Apple Music and other digital platforms. Tone G brings that positive vibe in everything he does. And the music he brings with the reggae style and that smooth lyrical flow, oh, you know what to do. Y'all check out Tone G Music.
We hope you're enjoying the show. As our listeners, this show is made possible because of your support. Make sure you click the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thank you for being a part of the show, and now back to your host, Reggie Maddox.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Today on the Simply Straight Talk Show, we are talking about recovery from abused relationships. Now, in the first part of the show, we gave you some little information about abusive relationships, the types of abusive relationships. Then I started going through some of the factors that might make a person become abusive, but it wasn't an all-inclusive list. I'm pretty sure there's a variety of reasons a person can exhibit abusive relationship behavior, but I want to finish off that list. I got two more things. Then I want to get into the recovery steps. So real quick, number 6 on that list was someone abused them. A parent abused a child, a woman abused a man, or vice versa. This leads to a person being triggered by action, gestures, or words used from their abuser. So when the observer, hear or see these things, it becomes a learned response to implement an abusive behavior. Now, this can work in a way that I want to kind of break it down to you that somebody that said, like I say, abuse can be verbal. It's not always physical. And, and one thing that I've experienced in my life, especially in my dating and marriage, was when I was married, but one of the negative things, I've always, for some reason, attracted the wrong women. That's why I'm single now. Focus, Reggie. But the thing about it is, it's when you meet someone and they tell you that they have to control the money, they have to control the funds. An abusive person can create a stigma that you will notice when someone's been abused when you say something and they make the comment of, well, you know what? I don't know why everybody I date says that, or my parents used to say that. They would let you know that, sort of an angry way that something was said to them that someone used to say to them. It may be a hand gesture. Some people don't like people walking up behind them. Like, you could be playing with your wife and walk up behind her and grab around her neck, and she can become really frantic and upset. And like, I was just joking, but she could have had a bad experience from an abusive relationship. Verbally, people have often had things said to them, and they will tell you, please don't say that to me. I don't like people saying that to me, because verbally someone could abuse them using that factor, talking about their looks, talking about their weight, talking about their height. People don't think men are verbally abused, but men are verbally abused as well, especially men who are more heavy set. So you hear that. And I'm telling you that from a guy who was heavy set, lost weight, gained a little weight back. But the thing about it is, I really develop a sensitivity complex about my weight, because I've had women say some things to me that like just made I just wanted to just go chop my head off, but it's verbal abuse can happen, and people oftentimes will, continue the path of abusive behavior because it happened to them. It's what they know. Either they're figuring that the way they're going to get back at the person who abused them is by abusing you or abusing other people in their relationships. You will often find this happens in relationships with divorced parents, where a mother will look at a son or look at a daughter and see the father and immediately start treating that child in a negative, abusive way. You might have a father who sees a daughter and he might treat her or his son in a negative, abusive way, especially if they say something or do something that resembles that parent, the ex that they now have resentment for. They will take it out on the kids. So you got to be conscious of those type things. Next is negative self-image. A person with no confidence or self-esteem will have a challenging time receiving and believing that someone loves them or cares for them. And they may be quick-tempered or even jealous, not just with their mate, but with anyone close to them, including their children or friends. When somebody has a negative self-image about themselves, and they get into a relationship or they form relationships or bonds, they can be, because the self-image is so low and so weak about themselves, they become controlling. They become very, offended if certain people, talk to you, or if you talk to certain other people, or if they feel like, well, you prefer those guys that got money. So that's why you over there smiling and laughing in their face, and they become angry. And sometimes it can lead to physical, or sometimes it just leads to verbal. And, it's the same way, you can have a heavyset guy who feels like, if he's verbally abused, he might feel like, she's doing something, or she's out there acting all crazy, and she's really not. It's all about that person just have a low negative image of themselves, and they want you to have that. So they are putting it all on you. They don't have any confidence. They don't like the fact that you have confidence. So you're a problem. They're pushing it all off on you. So those are the things that can happen. I mean, it's unfortunately, but it's part of the world that we live in. But what are some of the signs of an abusive relationship? Now, there are numerous signs, but I'm just going to go over, 2 or 3 real quick so you can kind of understand. Now, physical, we all see. Now, some of this stuff you have to kind of know the person, understand. You can't just assume that it's physical abuse. But when you start seeing bruises, scars, and scratches, we all know our signs of physical abuse. Wearing long coverings over the arms and legs and other parts of the body that are normally exposed. Change in behavior. Someone who was positive now shows a lack of confidence. They require the approval of a specific person before doing things. They hold back in conversations when certain people are around or a certain person. They really don't make eye contact. Their head is normally held down. They can become nervous or jittery if that certain person is around, or they feel like you or somebody that person doesn't like, and they're concerned that it's going to create a problem when they get home or in the car or make a scene there. But real talk, when somebody that you are cool with is acting strange. They can't hang out with certain people. They may even tear up or deflect conversations when it comes to relationships or about certain people. Anger may even come into play, and you'll be able to see it on their face. And the third thing is, when you are dealing with a situation that makes you unhappy. Now, this is talking to the person that's a victim. I'm talking to the victim right now. When you are dealing with a situation that makes you unhappy and you're suffering internally, you need to get out. You need to break away from the toxic situation or relationship. Counseling is always an option, but do not force a person to do something they will not commit to. You deserve to feel loved, respected, and confident about being you and living your life in a peace and contentment, instead of laying down for someone to walk all over you because they don't believe in themselves or they lack confidence. You deserve better than that. But when we get into the recovery, there's some things that you need to start doing. Now, there are people recover and get up and get back on their feet in different ways. But these are just some things that I think can help you on that path, because this is the most crucial step, because it will determine if you break the cycle or become a recreation of what you yourself was trying to get away from. Now, the first thing I want to say in the recovery process is talk to someone. I recommend you talk to a professional therapist, somebody who's not caught in the situation, somebody who's trained, they deal with these type of things, so you don't get a one-sided view, okay? And they can help you deal with the emotional aspect, because too often abuse victims try to accept the blame and responsibility for the other person's behavior. They feel they could have, done something differently, or maybe they just didn't understand the person, or they don't know how they got into the situation in the first place. Because they would say, like, man, everything was so good. What happened? And they start rationalizing irrational behavior. So that's why I say talking to a professional therapist can help you stay balanced and help you deal with those emotional issues. Because sometimes talking to a friend, all they want to do is amp you up. Some friends just want to know what happened. They just want the inside scoop so they can go back and tell other people. But talking to a professional therapist can really give you that real help you need. And you got that confidentiality. That's important, because you don't have people on your timeline. Oh, I heard about this, or hey girl, thanks for talking. They keep throwing it back in your face. Next is make your physical and mental health a top priority. Start working out and eating healthy. It'll help you to feel better about yourself and burn off some of that excess stress. Do exercises that will challenge you, because right now you need to rebuild your confidence, and it'll help you to realize how strong you are and how physically and mentally strong you are. Now, when you add the mental training and stimulation to your life, you need to only engage with those people who are going to speak life. So it may mean that you need to distance yourself from some people right now, because you need to focus on you, and you don't need people. Oh, what happened, girl? Hey, bro, what happened? I heard she was whooping your ass. You don't need those type people. You need people that's going to talk to you about, hey, you know what? Let's get your business back going. Hey, you had a great financial plan going. People that's going to inspire you about the things that focus on accomplishing your dreams, not people taking you back and want to relive your past, like I said, because they don't really care. Get positive people around you. That's going to stimulate you motivationally, because you need positive reinforcement. You don't need negative reinforcement. You need positive reinforcement, because you're trying to get back on your feet. And you don't need people that's going to take your leg and hold your feet on the fire in your past. Some people will actually do that. So start setting up a path that you want to go moving forward in your life. Not what other people want, what you want. And seek out positive music, positive motivational speeches, and stay away from the brokenhearted and angry and get revenge songs. It's so easy to fall into the mindset of listening to songs or watching TV shows or movies that are centered around heartbreak and discouragement. You need to find something that's positive from the get-go, from jump one all the way to the end. You need to get that positive thing. And I tell people, on YouTube, there are some great positive videos that won't cost you a penny, but they're great videos that speak positive messages. You need to find those videos. Don't fall into the heartbreak and broken down stuff. It's not going to help you. Next, don't try to become the guru for abusive relationships. Remember, you're still healing. But as you learn about resources that help you to get stronger and more confident, share them with others. Don't turn other people away. Share the resources that help you. Don't sit there and try to be the guru like you got all the answers, because you're still dealing with your situation. You're still dealing with your emotions. And if you're not careful, if you find yourself constantly running to people and other people who are in abusive relationships, you're going to find yourself emotionally setting yourself back and going back into that world. Mentally, you're going to end up imprisoning yourself in a place you don't want to be and don't need to be. So be careful about that. Like I said, I'm not saying don't help people. What I'm saying is be mindful of how you do it. The best thing you can do is offer them resources, but don't try to be all of a sudden an abusive relationship counselor. I understand you've been in an abusive relationship. You, as a man or woman, you've been the victim, but give somebody the right resources. Okay? Give them the right resource. Somebody who can sort the deep issue of the problem. Okay? Next. Do not go on social media and rant about your abusive breakup. Doing this will only spark up old memories and cause your DM or inbox to explode with more questions or negative comments. If the abusing person follows you or shares some of the same friends, it can just incite more conflict or lead to them thinking you're playing a game and you just want to get them back. And you really don't want to do that. You really don't want to, because the more you do that, just the more problems it's going to cause. Next, cleanse yourself. Do not contact him or her. Do not check their social media. Remove objects and pictures that trigger unpleasant emotions and memories. Ease back on friendship with people who hang out with them. And you know what I'm saying? And that so if you got somebody to hang out with your ex or whatever, don't try to hang out with them. Just keep it cordial, but don't try to be all in each other's face. Put some distance between y'all for right now. And right now, your brain chemistry is in a similar state of a drug addict who's in the process of getting clean. And the only way for you to start healing is to stop the exposure to the poison so that you can learn to find other things that will bring you support, comfort, and joy. Sitting there going through old pictures, looking at Facebook of old pictures of y'all together, it's just going to take you back into a place that you're trying to get away from. That's what I thought about. Cleanse yourself. Cleanse yourself. Get rid of the pictures, get rid of the posts. If you have to, shut that one Facebook down, shut that one, and start a new one. Just start a brand new one. But, cleanse yourself so you don't find yourself sitting there at night because, you don't want to take yourself back. Let me just leave it like that. You don't want to take yourself back. So remove anything that puts you in the place of that person. And pace yourself. Don't rush to get back into the dating world. At this point, a person can become really discouraged and you can begin to feel lonely. It's like, at least I had somebody, but really, you had somebody beating the crap out of you. You had somebody verbally telling you that you were ugly, you were fat, you were this, you were that. You can't get. Do you really want to go back to that? Is it really worth it? You know what I'm saying? So pace yourself and don't try to get back out there in the dating world. This is the reason I suggest you create a mental health plan to help you stay balanced and focused on you. When people rush back into relationships, it's possible you can find yourself in a similar situation, especially if you haven't taken the time to flush out the first situation. That's why it's so important to think about that. Think about the situation. It's important. You need to kind of reflect back like, okay, this is what got me into this. Don't do this again. Don't just make mistakes. Make mistakes, lessons learned. Okay? All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with the final thoughts of today's show.
We'll be right back, so keep it locked here with your favorite radio talk show.
Hey, are you looking for some great music, upbeat and with a positive voice? Well, the song I Stand With You is exactly what you need. This timeless song has a pop version sung by Audrey Carmel. And a reggae version sung by General Steele, now known as Revelation.
Now I know some days you may feel blue, Lord. Trust in your greatness to see you through.
These songs are now available on iTunes and other digital platforms for download. Don't miss out. Get your copy today.
Give life your best, and I know.
Are you ready for the straight truth? Reggie, what's the final word for today?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the final thoughts of today's show. Today we talked about recovery from abusive relationships. And I hope this information was very helpful to anybody who needed it. But I also help it make those who, even if you don't need it, kind of made you reflect on your own behavior so we can all have a little more accountability and responsibility towards how we treat other people. You know, if you are in an abusive relationship, please make sure that you try to reach out to somebody. Please make sure that you actually use some of the resources that are available. You have the national hotline for domestic abuse. You know, if it's something on the job, you've heard me slam HR departments, but try to use your HR department. If not, don't be afraid to actually reach out to some of the labor departments or the labor organizations outside of your work environment. But the thing about it is, you don't deserve to be treated with abuse. No child, man, or woman should be a victim or subject to verbal or domestic or sexual abuse of any kind. So make sure that you take care of yourself and make sure that you understand that you have to get out of that situation. Today, I really wanted to give you some ideas on how to recover from it. So if you are in the process of leaving an abusive relationship or recovering from an abusive relationship, make sure you take time to find that strength in yourself. It took strength to get out of that situation. It took strength and a willpower from within you to recognize that you do deserve better and that life has so much more to offer for you and that you need to live a happy life. There is someone out there that's going to treat you better. There's a job that's going to treat you better. There's a friend that's going to treat you better. You need to position yourself by reaffirming your self-esteem, your self-confidence, believing in yourself, the things that you want to do and you're going to accomplish. Do it. Do it by taking care of you physically and mentally. Get yourself in a place to where you can live a happy life in contentment and joy. Hey, this is Reggie. Thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of the Simply Straight Talk Show.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Simply Straight Talk podcast. Make sure you visit our website at rmviagem.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Libsyn, SoundCloud, or Spotify, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that will help us out too. Thank you, and see you next week.